Well, hello everyone. I am so glad to be back on YouTube. For some reason, well, not for some reason, but my account has been throttled a little bit. So if you're brand new to following me, my name is Denise. I am co-founder of Freedom Angels. We're a human and civil rights organization based here in California. We are political strategists, and we work here to make sure that we're engaged in all bills and laws that affect families in California. So we have a lot to talk about. I've been off for a while, like I said, but we have been hard at work here in the state, dealing with a whole bunch of bad bills, along with dealing with a whole bunch of bad actors who are elected representatives. So let's get started. If you guys are familiar, we were working here in California against the bill SB 276 in 2019. I think that was really the last time that I was on here discussing the kinds of laws that are taking place. And now we are dealing with some really bad bills that have become law. So, what we try to do here is we try to engage, we try to participate in all things politics. We try to get people to understand how effective they can be at a local level. And we try to build district to capital networks. And we've been able to do that. Our main goal, I think, since 2019 was creating a space for people to be able to understand how politics works, and creating a space so people understand really how effective you can be at a district level, and then we take that up to the capital. And so when we go to the Capitol, we talk to politicians, we, build relationships with them, but also more importantly, we let them know what's going on in their district. The kind of bills that are being introduced are and have been very extreme. And we bring town halls to the community. And we just finished like a tour in Southern California where we had town hall meetings in Glendale, Los Angeles, Huntington Beach. And we just really try to focus on getting people aware of, no longer ignoring politics, because politics is not ignoring us anymore. We have some very extreme legislators like Senator Scott Wiener, and we have a new junior legislator who has proven to be um, pretty much like a Senator Richard Pan and Scott Wiener on steroids. And this is Assemblymember Corey Jackson. He's supposed to represent the Riverside area, and he introduced some just ridiculous bills. And we're going to get into what kinds of bills those are. So, this past legislative session, it ended in October, and we were fighting some legislation that a was just so extreme that I we can't even believe that it was even introduced. But we also were able to stop legislation that I'm going to get into, and push through legislation. So all in all, even though we lost so much this past year, we really gave an example of what can be done if people activate and organize at a district level. So now let's get through the bills that we had to deal with this year. So the first one was AB 665. Now, unfortunately, this bill did pass into law. Gavin Newsom recently signed it October 14th, and it was sold as a bad bill of goods. When we, unfortunately, we got on that bill late because we were dealing with another bill that we'll get into, but we got on it too late, and we were just not able to get the legislators to see what the issue was. So originally, this bill was sold as, medical or healthcare equity and parity. So children on Medi-Cal services can get the same mental health services as children on private pay insurance. Now, in the state of California, 12-year-olds can already consent to mental health treatment without parental consent or knowledge. That's already been a law here. Um, but there were guardrails in place that said before the state can interfere with removing a child from the home, there needed to be due process. So there need to be proof of abuse, allegations of abuse, or allegations of self-harm. before the state can tell the child, yes, you can leave your home and you can go into a residential shelter under the care of the state, and then we'll get you help. What they did with AB 665 was not just give insurance parity, but it also removed the requirements that there needed to be proof of abuse or allegations of abuse before the child was able to self-consent to a residential shelter. This bill was introduced and by or authored by Wendy Carrillo, who is in East LA, and co-authored by Senator Scott Wiener. Now, if you missed the news today, Wendy Carrillo was actually arrested this morning at 1:30 a.m. for drunk driving. And so she released a statement that she's still trying to represent her constituents. But let's just take it back to this bill. Does this represent you if you are her constituent? Do you feel that lowering the age of consent and emancipating 12-year-olds is the way to go in California, and not just for California, but for the rest of the nation, because we do set the map for what's going to happen in other states. Um, people, legislators didn't feel like this was an emancipation bill, but our response was there's three ways that a child is, has guardianship. The first way is through their parents. The first way is, or second way is full emancipation. And the third way is under the care of the state. So they are allowing children 12 and up to go to school. We'll just say school, right? It's because schools are extremely dangerous right now. They can go to schools and go to their mental health counselor and say, I don't feel supported at home. I don't want to go home anymore. I need to be relocated. That mental health counselor or trainee, because the bill also included changing language that states it can be a trainee or an intern who are able to facilitate the child's move, and say, I don't want to go home. I need help. They can go to a pride center. They can go to school. They can go wherever. Because remember, 12 and up, that child will never come home from school. And this bill does not require parental notification. So you won't even know where your kid is until it's time for them to do an investigation. So this bill, again, unfortunately passed into law. And so with centers like wellness centers happening across the schools and just across the nation, and medical privacy for 12 years and up, and children 12 years and up able to make medical decisions, this was a complete blow to families in California. And unfortunately, legislators just passed this down party lines. If you are interested in finding out um, how your legislator voted, you can go to Legiscan and you can enter in the bill AB 665. It'll take you to the Legiscan page and you can go down to roll call. You'll be able to see the legislators who did vote for this bill. It's very disappointing. Um, the Democrats who call themselves moderate voted for this bill as well. So we need to not only hold Wendy Carrillo accountable, but we need to hold the legislators who voted for this bill. It was very concerning because some of the moderate Democrats that we spoke to knew how bad this bill was, and they still passed it down party lines. And we were told by some Democrats, like, they cornered me. I had to vote it. I had to get my bills passed. So this was clear horse trading with our children. The second bill, though, AB 659. Now, this is going to be important if you have children who are going into seventh grade in California. Um, Originally, this bill was an HPV mandate for all children in public and private schools. And then it rolled into an also HPV mandate for young adults entering college for the first time under the age of 26. Now, in the state of California, we do not have any exemptions. There are no functional exemptions, no matter what legislators tell you or what doctors tell you, there are no functional exemptions. So this was going to be a comply or homeschool if you had young children, or comply or go to a college in a different state. So we actually were able to defeat the mandate. So that's great news. In California, we have had some historical defeats like SB 866 that we had in 2023, I think, or 2022. And we were able to defeat that. So this is the second historical defeat that we've had in California, and the HPV mandate was taken off the table. However, they did some very, very sneaky stuff, which we already know. We were completely ready for them to be sneaky about it because, Merck wants to capture California. If you capture California, you capture the holy grail of the vaccine schedule. What they did was they passed this bill to that included every school had to send out a Merck marketing letter. It was a letter. Now there was this is a two-part thing. The first piece of the bill was it was a letter sent out to all seventh graders saying that it is expected that a child get the HPV shot. That was amended. We were actually very surprised that the Assembly or the Senate opted against this because they want it, but the language was very tricky. So the letter now says it's recommended that your child be up to date with the whole CDC schedule. It's again very misleading because the HPV shot is not on the schedule, but it is going to make parents and families think that it is. However, if again, there is no HPV mandate in the state of California, we were able to defeat that. We want everybody to know, and we need everybody to know because the schools and the doctors are lying to patients and lying to the families that this is going to be a mandated shot before they can go to school. It is not. We encourage you to, tell your family, tell your community, go to town halls. The problem with these bills is that nobody knows about them. The legislators do not tell their constituents about what bills are before them. The legislators don't talk to their constituents. So it's up to us to go into the community and let people know. The other bill that was introduced was AB 957. Now, this one was like the shock heard around the world. This bill would have removed custody from a parent who did not affirm their child's gender identity during a custody dispute. There's no age restrictions. We actually have a friend who's dealing with this. His son was 3 when the mother started transitioning him, and then the courts took custody away from him. Thankfully, there was so much heat on this bill, and Gavin Newsom has, political aspirations. Thankfully, this bill was vetoed. But Lori Wilson, who represents the Bay Area, has promised she is not done with this bill. So again, I think a lot of times people are so, they feel so defeated. They feel so just like, what can I do? They're going to do whatever they want anyways, which is not true. It's not true. I hope people understand that we actually have a lot of power if we use it correctly. And if we don't use it correctly, then they're going to do whatever they want. But we have to start engaging at a local level. Like every time I do a town hall or I have a discussion, I ask people like, have you been to your representative's office? Have you had a meeting with them? Do they know who you are? Do you go to their town halls if they have them? Do you go to any of their events? Because if they don't hear from you, it is impossible for them to represent you. And if they don't hear from you, it's impossible for them to know what kind of pushback is in their community. So again, that bill was vetoed, but it's still happening in courts all across the United States. We have to start engaging. Sorry, I'm just getting over an illness, so I'm have a little bit of sniffles. So now let's get to AB 1078. Now, again, this was the bill from Corey Jackson, who represents Riverside. So if you're in Riverside, I really hope that you are organizing and finding a representative who can run against him. He's a very dangerous legislator. I'd say he's top 5 of the most dangerous legislators that we've seen. And he introduced AB 1078 that would remove local school board control and give that power to the state. Now, what we're seeing, if you've been paying attention, Chino Valley School District passed a parental notification bill or policy, and Tony Thurman, who's a superintendent of public education, Rob Bonta, who is our attorney general, Gavin Newsom, they all are pushing against these schools that want parents involved, saying, hey, if your kid is transitioning at school, we have to let you know. Like, what happened to parents being involved in their children's like education and healthcare? Well, Gavin Newsom signed the bill. And now, anytime a parent, and this was in response to parents who were objecting to pornography in children's libraries. This is very serious. This isn't just like, oh, it's a book, a curriculum that you don't like. This is about pornography in that's accessible to children. Like, it's wild that this is even a discussion. But that's what this bill was. And what he focused it on was this is to defeat white Christian nationalism, because parents are objecting to this type of curriculum, when really we don't want our children to learn how to get on Tinder. And that's what some of these books did. So that bill passed. This silences parents that object to any of this type of inappropriate material found in their kids' school library. And it gives the state complete power over what children are being taught in schools, which is bananas that this is even happening. I think the best thing parents can do at this point is to homeschool. And I know not everybody can, and I know it's a very scary thing to do, but I think it's scarier to have your children in public schools right now. Schools are actively telling children that parents are dangerous. And it's just one of those pieces that needs to be fixed, but we can't fix it with our children on the front line. So now that all that is said and done, and we know what kind of bills are being passed, and we know the type of legislators that are in office, and we see the type of agenda that's being put forward, this year for 2024, we can expect some pretty interesting legislation coming out. During AB 659, the HPV bill, Scott Wiener made a statement that the monkeypox shot is going to be available for children 12 and up to get without parental consent or knowledge. This is how far state legislators have went. And so we hope that you get engaged. We hope that you start participating in knowing who your legislators are. And on January 3rd is our first day back for session. We hope that we see you there. Freedom Angels will be hosting a grassroots training on how to be effective in politics. We'll have a flyer out. We hope that you sign up on our website, freedom-angels.org, to get on our email list. This email list will send out a blast of our calendar, and we hope that you join us because we'll have a training on how to be effective. We're going to take you inside the Capitol, talking to legislators. We're going to take you inside to see the floor hearing. It's going to be one of those events that will need full hands on deck because there's a lot of things coming out in California that we're going to have to be engaged with. But on the flip side, on some very good news, I encourage you to go to protectkidscalifornia.com. And they are a group of organizations that are bringing ballot initiatives to California to say, hey, there's 3 things that voters want. 1, protect women's and girls' spaces. 2, parental notification. And 3, I think is the biggest one, the most important, is a total ban on child sterilization. This is in response to Senator Wiener's SB 107 bill that creates California as a sanctuary state for trans kids. Very dangerous because it's for the whole nation. It's not just for California. So children from across the nation can come here to California with an adult, get gender affirming care. And if there's a custody dispute in another state, California will not honor that custody dispute if the other parent does not agree to the gender affirming care. So if we can get this on the ballot, then we can put a stop to SB 107. We need to start protecting these kids and stop allowing these extremist rogue legislators to put this kind of policies in place. They're very dangerous. So I will have more. I wanted just to test this to see if this is going to go on. I don't want to do a whole thing and YouTube takes it down. So we're on Rumble under Freedom Angels. You can find us on Twitter under Freedom Angels 2 and Instagram Freedom Angels 2. And we're going to be bringing you a lot of stuff going on for the legislative session, a lot of information on the bills. And we hope to see you in California at the Capitol on January 3rd at noon. And we'll have a flyer out that we'll blast on our email. So we hope to see you. Please visit us, freedom-angels.org. We have tons of stuff on how to put in place resolutions at a local level. We have a lot of samples and models that you can use for your own district. You can also go to theinformedmama.info to contact me, and you can email me at Denise Aguilar, Denise Aguilar, Aguilar, at proton 2021 at protonmail.com to get in touch with me. So we'll see if this goes, and if it does, then I'll be coming back to YouTube to bring you more information on California politics. Have a great day, guys.